Alright, today we're going to be talking about simplifying fractions. The common core standard we're looking at is 5NF.1, replacing given fractions with equivalent fractions. And we looked at the last time how to do equivalent fractions. Simplifying fractions is just making them in reduced form so that when it's in the simplest form, the number 1 is the only common factor of the numerator and denominator. I have a list of fractions down here. Some of these are in reduced form and some are not. So let's just take a look at some of these quick. 1/3, again, only 1 can be divided by 1, 3 can be divided by 1. So 1/3 is in simplest form. The same thing with 7/8. There is no number that can go in evenly of 7 and 8. 2/4, however, what number can go into 4 and 2? If we think of a number that can be divided by 4 and 2, it would be 2. We can divide the top and bottom by 2, which would get us 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2, which gets us a half. We kind of did that yesterday when we were talking with equivalent fractions. The same goes for 12 for 24ths. We can divide the top and bottom by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And then finally 11/13 is in simplest form as well. One big thing you want to know, so you might want to pause the video and write this down. If there is a fraction, such as, I'm making this up, 4/8 or 10/12, whatever it is, if the numerator and the denominator are both even numbers, it is never in simplest form because you can always divide by 2. For example, we have our 4/8. You can divide the both are even numbers. You can divide by actually 4, but you could divide by either 4 or 2. Same goes with 10/12. You could divide the top and bottom by 2. That's very important to remember. So if you ever see a fraction, again, whether it's 18/48, you can always know it's not in simplest form because both numbers are even. If both numbers are even, the numerator and the denominator, it tells you it's not in simplest form. So here are the steps we're going to go over on how to find simplifying fractions. The easiest and best way, the first thing to do is find the greatest common factor of the numerator and the denominator. And then what you want to do is divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. The result is the simplified fraction. So let's take a look at this next page here. So if we're simplifying 6/15, again, pause the video and when we're going through this, and maybe watch this a couple times to help you understand it. The first thing you want to do, and write down these steps, is find the greatest common factor of each numerator and denominator. So the first thing you want to do is list the factors of each number. So if we look down here, the factors of 6, or what can be divided evenly into 6, is 1, 2, 3, and 6. The factors of 15 is 1, 3, and 15. Then what you need to do is circle the numbers that are the same in each list. Well, in this case, the only number that's the same in each list is the 3's. And of the numbers that are the same, circle the largest number. So again, because there's only one number that's similar, our greatest common factor would be 3. Once we know what our greatest common factor is, all we need to do is divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. So we divide 6 divided by 3, which gets us 3. And 15 divided by 3, which gets us 5. And the simplified fraction is 3/5. Alright, what I want you to do now, you're going to try to do this one on your own. We're going to kind of do it step by step. So simplify 10/25. And again, find the greatest common factor of the numerator and list the factors of each number. I want you to do step 1 and pause the video and try to do step 1 on your own, and we'll go over this together. Alright, hopefully you paused the video and we did step 1 together. So hopefully for your factors of 10, or a way to answer that is what numbers can go into 10 evenly. 1, 2, 5, and 10 would be your common factors. Your factors of 25 would have been 1, 5, and 25. Again, 25 divided by 5 is 1, 25 divided by 5 is 5, and 25 divided by 1 is 1. Then what you need to do is circle the numbers that are the same on each list. Again, the only common number they have is a 5 in each list, therefore the greatest common factor is 5. One thing that might happen, this is different. If we have a fraction, for example, that is 4 twelfths. If we find the common factors, you'll know 2 and 4 are on both going to be common factors. And for 12, it'll be 2, 4, and 6. And then 12. Notice there's going to be, notice these are the ones that have in common. The 2's are in common with both, and the 4's are common with both. But again, you're going to circle the largest number. Well, that's why it's called the greatest common factor. You're finding the biggest factor they have in both, which is the 4. In the problem you did, the greatest common factor in this case is 5, so you would have circled 5. And then finally, you would divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, which we found already was 5. So again, we would have 10 divided by 5 is 2, and then 25 divided by 5 is 5, and then the simplified fraction is 2/5. And that is how you simplify fractions. Again, the easiest way to do it is to first find the greatest common factor, and again, list your factors out. It's very important to list them out. Notice how I listed them out. So on your assignment, make sure you list them out, and then you just find the greatest one they have in common, and you divide the top and bottom, or the numerator and denominator, by the greatest common factor. And that's how you simplify expressions. The password today, as I haven't done one in a while, is brownies. I like brownies. I love brownies. It's hard for me just to eat one and just stop at one. So the password is brownies.